So I'm here with Jonathan and Kevin, organisers and hosts of Queen of the Whole Universe. Firstly, what is Queen of the Whole Universe?
We think of it as a parody on a beauty pageant and also parody on drag. We're not there to take the piss out of people. We're actually there to celebrate beauty pageants and celebrate drag queens.
And how long has the competition been going for?
This is our 6th year, 2009. So it started with a beginning show, and it's taken into its sort of mature form in the last 5 years.
And we started off with Queen of the Whole Pacific in 2004, and then we had to go bigger immediately, it turned into the universe. The whole universe, whole with a W.
And this year was the first time you held it in Wellington. How did you think the crowd responded to it?
Oh, they were great.
Huge. We were actually quite nervous because we'd been told that the Wellington crowds were a little bit more conservative. They liked the ballet, they liked the opera. And being at the St James's, which is primarily a very professional theatre, whereas the Opera House is where a lot more of the community events are held, we were a little bit concerned. But on the night, the minute that curtain went up, we have a little sign, we look at each other and we have a little sign which says, we now have them. So as soon as that curtain went up, they went absolutely apeshit, and we thought, right, it doesn't matter what goes wrong now for the rest of the night.
What goes right.
What goes right. We've got them. So, yeah, they were incredible. And I think you were in the audience, Jade, weren't you, darling?
I was, and honestly, I loved it. It was fantastic. I saw the show last year in Auckland, and you guys broke a world record last year. Tell us about that, because this year you broke your own world record.
We did, in fact, believe it or not, in the last 24 hours we've just had confirmation from the Guinness World Records in London to say that our world record last year, which was set in November, for the largest drag show on stage has been accredited with that record title. So that was 33 men dressed in drag. But on Saturday night in Wellington, we've just broken it again, now 35.
Yeah, all the way to 35, and, you know, next time we'll try and go bigger.
Always bigger, I think.
Do you really think I'm going to work with more than 35 wannabe drag queens? I don't think so, Buffy.
Nothing like a challenge, though.
Now, the competition had a section in it called the Headgear of Nations, which was my personal favourite. How did each of the drag queens represent their country? Like, how did they come up with the theme of representing the country in such an extravagant and diverse way, especially with costume design?
Well,
Jay, do you know what I'm going to do first? I'm going to ask you, why was it your favourite piece?
Yeah.
I just love interviewing the interviewer.
I loved it, I think, just because of the magnitude of it. Do you know, it was so over the top and so unexpected. I was thinking, like, the typical beauty pageant. Do you know, like a sash and a tiara? It's not what I saw.
This is a parody, girl. This is a parody on a beauty pageant.
Yeah, it's much more extreme beauty, as you realise, and all sizes and all colours. Basically, they can create anything they want in the way of headgear. 2 metres by 2 metres. It can be as, you know, larger the better. And it's got to be something that sort of captivates the country, expresses something about their personality in the country and the role they're playing. So,
and I just have to clarify, it's not really, it doesn't have to be a country, does it? No.
No, it doesn't. No, they can be anything, and that's why we use the word universe. They can be anything other than, well, anything at all. And just getting back to what Kevin was saying about the headgear, we're still very new into that concept of headgear. We really tried that out in 2007 with 2 or 3 people. And then in 2008, last year, we realised that it worked really, really well, and we've now decided to take it through. And it's actually become one of the trademarks of the show.
Yeah.
But for me, you know, the key to this whole event is about voluntary and community involvement. And this is the one part of the show where the cast members can use their own creativity to present something on stage, because the rest of the stage, we control it very, very closely, apart from the Act 2 artistic performance. So that's where the cast can actually do what they want, create what they want, and it also helps them with choosing the country they want, because we don't choose the countries. We say you can do this. There are certain things that we won't allow the cast to do, country-wise. There is a very fine... There's a boundary.
Things we won't allow.
There's only a few things, and it's more to do with, we don't mind pushing the boundary, going over a bit, but there's a limit to what we allow. So, you know, we've we and they have created something incredible, and I think you might have heard on Saturday night somebody compared us to a camp version of the Wearable Art Awards, and I thought, wow.
That was nice.
It is, isn't it? It's wearable art, isn't it? Like, some of the stuff was so over the top that I was just like, how actually are you walking with it on your head, firstly?
Yeah, it's illusory, eh? It's so, some of it's so big and you think, how does that just work? How does it balance?
Well, we've got some major plans in place for 2011, which is our Rugby World Cup special, and we'll probably be going into a slightly different venue where we're going to wire across the top of the stage, so the headgear can actually go along on wire. So you can imagine what that might do.
And we're in discussion with Dan Carter to see if we can get him back.
Oh, you wish!
Well, Dan, if you're watching.
Here's my number.
Earlier you mentioned getting involved. Now, obviously a competition like this must take a lot of time, and I'm sure a lot of preparation. What kind of sponsorship do you guys need to put this together?
What's our sponsorship person here?
And everything else. Basically what we try to do is we try and get enough sponsorship to cover all the immediate costs, those things that we know that we can't get sponsored, like our in-kind support. Certain things that we know that we can't get suppliers to give us sponsorship. So we normally need to look at about $30,000 to $40,000 in cash in order to put this show on. But it costs a lot more than that, as you can imagine, to put a show of that size on. And it's getting more and more difficult to actually gain sponsorship. It's not easy. And, Wellington, it's the first time we've actually made a loss. And my company, Eventimento, had to pick up that loss. But we were both prepared to do that. We had to go to Wellington. We had to brand it down in Wellington. We had to get it ready for 2011 for the Out Games, because we're going to be opening the cultural festival for the Out Games in 2011. So we needed to get our branding down there. And we had a gold sponsor from last year who went into receivership owing us money. So that's been really, really difficult for us. So this has actually been the first year that we haven't been able to donate any money to the charities, which has been really sad.
But at least the show goes on, and as I say, if we didn't go to Wellington, it wouldn't have set the path for continuing to want to go there in a few more years.
And we feel good that we know that we've given over 140,000 in the last 5 years to charities. So we're feeling okay about that, and the 3 charities are okay about it.
Make money when you can, and just cover
to make
yourself
that
when you
sort
can.
of money from a show of that size that's only on stage for one night is not bad going.
And because Wellington was such a big success, would you think about taking it across the ditch?
It's funny you say that, but my lips are sealed. Let's just say that there's one particular Sydney in Australia who's ready for it, but the only way it will work is if we take the concept. We can't take the show. If we take the concept to Melbourne or to Sydney, probably Melbourne, take the concept over there and work with the community over there to put it on. But yeah, definitely, and it's been trademarked in Australia just in case some Australian bitch tries to steal it.
I mean, it would have to be the local community taking it on and putting the people.
Because JG's seen that, you see what's on stage. 80% of what's on stage is from our queer, if I can use that word, is our queer community. But then when you look in the audience, 80% of the audience is actually heterosexual. So it's quite an unusual combination. But it's about bringing communities together.
And do you have any advice for anyone thinking of entering? I mean, it's not an everyday competition, do you know what I mean?
Be shy. No, give it a go. It's a very safe and good environment because you're working as an ensemble. Everyone's adding their little piece to make it come together as a big thing. And it's all that collective energy that really makes it happen.
And people don't realise that it's actually open to everybody and anybody. It doesn't matter if you've never danced, you've never done drag, you've never put a pair of heels on. It doesn't matter what size you are. It doesn't matter what your sexual orientation is. Doesn't matter at all. Doesn't matter what your gender is either. The door is open to anybody that wants to come in. And primarily for Kevin and I, there's 3 goals. And one of those goals is about building people's self-esteem and self-worth. And if you do that, then you increase dealing with HIV infection because people start looking after themselves in a different way. That's what this show's about. And for us, we're very gratified and humbled when at the end of a show you see somebody come up to us who is really, really shy, and they'll come up to us and they'll say, "Thank you so much. I can actually hold my head up now and feel proud of who I am." And for us, that's worth all the thousands of dollars you could ever raise. Yeah.